Jasmine Crockett is in a perfect position to lead the Democratic Party. I don't even feel right saying that. Oh, those are his words, not mine, okay? Y'all see this?
Jasmine Crockett, I love her. Mm-hmm. She is amazing.
Yeah.
I think that people want to see somebody who fights and calls out the bullshit, ultimately. I think that's what Jasmine does, and we need a hell of a lot more people that are out there that are willing to do just that and call people out on their BS and not say, oh my God, Republicans are going to criticize me for saying this. Screw that. They're going to criticize you no matter what. So what we should be asking ourselves is, what are we really fighting for? Yeah. Because we know it matters, and I think Jasmine is frankly the type of leader that we're really looking to support in some senses, right? Somebody who is out there that frankly doesn't give a damn what the other side, at least the elected Republicans in Congress say what they believe in, and at least even if you don't agree with her, you know what she stands for.
Yeah.
Because she makes it very clear. And people are really craving that right now. They don't want more politicians that say talking points that it doesn't even feel like they believe, or you don't even really know what they mean. They want somebody who's out there that says what they believe and doesn't care what somebody else thinks about it. They want that authenticity.
You don't care about what the people You don't care about what the people think. And you're trying to convince them to vote for you or to be on your side? Doesn't make sense. I'll tell you what, though, if he's going to be on the ticket, as the vice president, I'm telling you, it's a golden ticket right here, man. It's the party. It's as Colin Rowe put it. Now, that's the ticket the Democratic Party deserves. What? So this is DNC Vice Chair David Hogg, and he's now saying that Jasmine Crockett is the perfect candidate right now to lead the Democratic Party. His words, again, not mine, because I promise you, saying that, it feels icky. And he had the nerve to say she's amazing. But, I like what he put, though. What we really should be asking ourselves is, what are we really fighting for? Definitely. That's the one thing that we've been saying to the Democratic Party this whole time. Stop trying to win on everything else except for policy. And strategy, turn the mic up a little bit. My bad, y'all. But here's the thing. Well, Crockett has been celebrated on one side of the aisle. She's obviously been, tortured on the other, taking them shots, firing them shots. But it's not just from the outside, but from people who used to ride with them. And by them, I mean the Democratic Party. So I want y'all to check out this clip from Tulsi Gabbard. Into Tulsi Gabbard. Former Democrat turned independent truth teller. See what I did there? Depending on who you ask. But she's not holding back whatsoever. She's talking about how the Biden administration covered up what was going on with what happened in 2020, and also put people like you, yes, you, on the terror watch list. I ain't just making this up.
Done here, what was done under the Biden administration. Was it they were saying that everyone who opposed, say, mask mandates or the vaccination of children are domestic violent extremists? Or were they saying that those are opinions often held by domestic violent extremists?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. That when you look at the language of these documents that I've declassified, first, the strategic implementation plan of the Biden administration's designation of potential violent domestic extremists. It really talks about people who may likely turn out to be domestic violent extremists, or those who may likely turn to violence because of these specific quote-unquote ideologies that they hold. And there's a consistent thread through here that these ideologies that they are designating as turning into potentially violent activities or being manifested in violent activities happen to be those of people who were using their First Amendment rights to oppose certain policies of the Biden administration. And while some of the examples that are focused on there have to do with those who opposed the COVID vaccine mandates, those who opposed the mask mandates, parents who were concerned that their children going to school may be forcibly vaccinated with the COVID vaccine without the consent or awareness of parents. The list goes on, but it's not exclusive to this. In some of these reports that we've declassified, it shows that people who were opposed to Biden's border policy, for example, could therefore have propensities to join a militia or could become these domestic violent extremists that we're talking about here. And again, it's important to look at this in the totality and the sequence of how this happened. These documents were issued in December of 2021. You remember very well, Will, the speech, the ominous speech that President Biden gave in 2022, where with this red background and Marines standing in the background, He issued an address to the nation warning the American people that Donald J. Trump and MAGA Republicans pose a direct threat to the fabric of our republic. And then you put that together with how the FBI and others within the Biden administration directed social media companies to censor Americans and undermine our First Amendment rights because, of course, the social media companies don't want to be in a position to support the spread of domestic violent extremism. So when you look at all of these things together, you understand at its core the thing that I committed to the American people to root out, which is the weaponization and politicization of the intelligence community and national security state against the American people.
You know, Director, it's a little bit like that analogy or the test that I had to take when I took the law school entrance exam.
Y'all know, I'm also realizing that I do a lot. That's something else I want to work on. We already fixed me saying any whom. Now I say anywho. That's some anywho. Gabbard just dropped the bombshell, obviously, talking about how the Biden administration was labeling Americans, regular Americans, as terrorists because they were questioning the 19 mandates. Y'all know what I mean by 19. I'm still, even though they saying it, I'm still afraid to say it. That's how, you traumatized. But yeah, they called us basically domestic violent extremists for that. And it's just sad because it's getting to a place, or it got to a place at one point where we criminalize dissent in America. Like, are we really criminalizing that in America now? Like, really? If a Republican administration had done this, what do you think would have happened? How do you think the media would have covered this? It'd be very different. But why are some Democrats silent on this accusation from one of their own former rising stars? Trump used to be on y'all side. You had Elon, you had Tulsi, bro. Y'all just keep losing everybody. And she ain't just no MAGA pundit. However you said pundit is the word. I'm trying to find, new insults. Anyhow, she was on that ticket once for sure. And if Tulsi telling the truth, it ain't just overreach. I'm just saying. They think it's an abuse of power. The Democrats. But this is her calling out the Democrats again, more specifically James Comey. And she's talking about the 86 reference that he made with those seashells on the seashore.
Director, what's your reaction to Comey?
Oh, man, where to start? When you look at James Comey and he talks about his own experience and his own knowledge and how terrible it is that we don't have him or people like him in the government now, let's go back and look at how he played a direct role in the weaponization of government against the American people and against Donald Trump. Let's look at his experience. For him, number one, let me just say this as a woman, for any man to pin the blame on this on his wife, like, give me a break. Why don't you just own it yourself? Second of all, a person of his experience that he claims is so great that MSNBC and CNN have and continue to laud James Comey as this expert law enforcement man, yet he doesn't know what...
Threatened the president.
This expert law enforcement man, yet he doesn't know what 86 means when he prosecuted gangsters and mobsters and people in the mafia throughout his entire career. Anybody who watches one of these old mobster movies knows and understands very directly what 86 means when referring to a person, not a dish on a menu in a restaurant. So what I get from James Comey is... and why I said what I said, and I know that the Secret Service is investigating this, but why I said what I said is when you have a person of his stature that in this country has been lauded as a man who represents fairness and integrity and the rule of law, posting something that is a call to get rid of our president, the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump, you imagine the kind of impact that that has. And again, you go back to the fact that Donald Trump has had 2 assassination attempts on his life. You have others within James Comey's cohort who call President Trump today's modern day Hitler, that he's a Nazi, that he is a direct and existential threat to our country and the American people. We should not be surprised that this president has had 2 assassination attempts on his life, and why James Comey's post should be taken very seriously. And I know that the Secret Service is doing exactly that.
A few years ago, Director, before you were in your current position, you and I met in the middle of the night in Maui.
Oh, wow. What a great way to set that up. We met up in the middle of the night. Whoa, hold up, bro. Relax. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing. But obviously, this is her going in on Comey, one of the most celebrated figures in the Democrat Party right now for whatever reason, man. Pretending like he don't know what 86. Why would a former FBI director not know what that means? I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying it. Basic lingo used in organized crime cases, and you don't know, and you're the former FBI director. That's incompetence. Or is it calculated denial to avoid deeper scrutiny? Y'all judge for yourselves. Tulsi blatantly says, anybody who watches a mob movie knows what 86 means. So how do you prosecute the mob for decades and not know what the term means? And let me ask you this. If someone like Comey has been sloppy or dishonest, what else could possibly have been swept under the rug? Something to think about. I'm just saying, man. Something to think about. So we got Crockett being hailed as the new face of the Democrat Party, while real whistleblowers like your girl Tulsi are calling the hypocrisy, the censorship, and all of these control tactics out. And remember, all of them used to be on that side. Well, me too. All of us. Well, I'm not them, but I don't know why I just tried to include myself like I'm on the Avengers level. Oh, man. But what happened to the Democratic Party's transparency? They usually ignore real corruption when it's an inconvenience to them. Oh, man. See, I just did it again. Now I'm finna be hearing this all day. I'm going to work on it. But the most dangerous voices aren't outside the system. They are the ones who escaped it and lived to talk. Is Jasmine Crockett the future leader of this party? Or just a symbol? Y'all let me know. Drop the comments. Please be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life, y'all. Peace.